Today, the world is fighting against COVID-19, a virus more frightening than war that is crossing borders and leading to many deaths. During this time, the oppression of human rights, religion, and peace, which are more fearful than the virus, is happening in South Korea. We want to spread this shocking news to the world. Since the first COVID-19 outbreak in South Korea on January 21, 2020, there were confirmed cases with unknown sources of infection throughout the country. In Daegu, South Korea, more than 1,200 students from Jiangsu Province and Henan Province, both of which are located next to Wuhan, China, visited the city of Daegu to celebrate the Daegu Year of Tourism. Since February 7th to 8th, a caregiver at Cheongdo Daenam Hospital first showed symptoms of a fever, which then led to a group of infections and ultimately death. On February 18th, a member of the religious group Shincheonji Church of Jesus, Daegu Church, was confirmed as the 31st infected patient. From this day on, all members of Shincheonji Daegu Church were tested for COVID-19, and around 5,000 people were confirmed to be infected with the virus and were the most affected by its consequences in South Korea. Before the widespread of infection in the region of Daegu, the Korean Medical Association held a press conference to insist that all Chinese immigrants and visitors should be banned from entering and/or leaving the country. However, the government did not listen to the doctors. They did not prevent Chinese visitors from entering the country, so the people of Korea were left with its consequences. Therefore, citizens infected with COVID-19 virus, including Shincheonji in Daegu, are considered victims of the government's delayed response. In addition, after the first spread of COVID-19 occurred in January 2020, the Korean economy was naturally stagnated by minimizing outdoor activities and refraining people from going outside. In February, the South Korean president visited Namdaemun Market to encourage the merchants. He then said to the Korean citizens, "I'd like to get rid of the excessive anxiety about the virus. Do not be anxious." And he asked for people to continue with their daily lives and that COVID-19 will end soon. He emphasized that the government and the economy must work together in order to revive the economy. The Korean people trusted these words when they saw that the president appeared without properly wearing a mask and immediately returned to their everyday lives. All citizens of Daegu Gyeongbuk Province or region, including members of Shincheonji Church who suffered the most, believed in these words. We really want to ask, is this truly a crime? From January 28th, Shincheonji Church of Jesus announced 4 times that members who have visited China, have been in close contact of the infected, have a fever or cold symptoms, were prohibited from entering the church, strengthening the prevention of another infection. On February 18th, all church services were stopped. All meetings, gatherings, and church activities were also stopped. However, the worship service that occurred on February 16th was the one that resulted in massive damage. In early February, experts such as the Korean Medical Association emphasized that the ban on Chinese visitors was desperately needed. As the situation worsened, the government later only banned the already blocked Wuhan area. The media strongly opposed the government for not prohibiting Chinese visitors from entering earlier, which led to a bitter confrontation. At this point, the mass infection of the members of the Shincheonji Church in Daegu was sufficient for the government to divert the attention of the angry media. After patient 31 in South Korea, the government avoided responsibility by blaming Shincheonji. The city of Seoul and Gyeonggi-do Province accused Shincheonji Church of Jesus of murder and indemnity. Subsequently, the media blamed Shincheonji Church of Jesus, and the intense oppression of religion and human rights began. Everyone, is the spread of COVID-19 the fault and responsibility of the citizens? The members of the Shincheonji Church in Daegu are also Korean citizens who have a say in the Republic of Korea. However, the government overturned the ridiculous crime of preventing the infection of this infectious virus against the victims of the virus. They blamed the responsibilities to the church members of Shincheonji Church and claimed that there was a violation of prevention, as if Shincheonji, the victims, was the source of spread of the infection. This led to seize and search warrants of church personnel who were then imprisoned. Regarding this situation, some groups in society say that the government is making Shincheonji Church, the victims, as scapegoats for the spread of COVID-19. They are saying that the government is shifting the resentment of the people to the hatred and discrimination against Shincheonji Church. However, the government is not listening to this and is continuing to engage in oppression of human rights and religion, and is continuing to detain Shincheonji personnel for violating infectious diseases. Soon after, the mayor of Seoul canceled the registration of Shincheonji Church of Jesus and canceled the registration of HWPL, a peace group that has been actively engaged in peace activities and has been devotedly serving the world. Can these particular actions by the government be seen as efforts to prevent an infectious disease? There are many churches and religious facilities in Korea, and many people have been infected while worshiping and carrying out activities. But nowhere else has their registration been canceled or the facility closed for several months. It is a partial and biased political discrimination to oppress and convict only Shincheonji of violation of infectious disease. The city of Seoul and Gyeonggi-do province strongly asserted the responsibility of Shincheonji Church for the outbreak and said there will be hidden confirmed cases of COVID-19. As a result, 70,000 Shincheonji congregation members in Seoul were individually surveyed. However, only 2 were confirmed in Seoul and none were confirmed in Gyeonggi-do. This became difficult to prove that Shincheonji members caused the widespread infection of COVID-19, and there were criticisms of the government's political irrationality. However, the government did not stop the oppression of religion and human rights against Shincheonji Church. In the end, the South Korean government's oppression of human rights and religion drove 2 Shincheonji women to suicide. All the broadcasts and newspapers reported as if the spread of COVID-19 was because of Shincheonji and treated Shincheonji members as criminals. How like was the violent abuse and assault of their husbands, who were tainted by false news, that it drove these mothers to jump from their apartments? What was the heart of these mothers of young children as they jumped from the apartments and committed suicide in front of their children? However, the government of South Korea continues their oppression of human rights and religion. Citizens of the world, what we need to fight now is not the government and people of a country. It is not a state nor a country. It is the COVID-19 virus that is terrorizing the world. Korea is a democratic country with a constitution. Politics and religion must be separate, and people must never be sacrificed with illegal and biased political standards. Now, in order for the oppression of human rights, religion, and peace that is being committed in the Republic of Korea to cease, we desperately need your strength. You who love truth and justice, please help. We are confident that your words of righteousness will stop the oppression of human rights, religion, and peace in South Korea. Please do not be silent to our earnest plea for justice. No more. Please stop the oppression of human rights, religion, and peace. We look forward to your messages of support. Thank you.